Welcome to the Lifescript Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sonu. The Lifescript Podcast is on a mission to uncover what health truly means and give insight into my unique, evidence-based health philosophy I call your Lifescript. The Lifescript Podcast aims to empower you with thought-provoking discussions with leading medical professionals and wellness experts and how it ties into your Lifescript. Together, we discuss the rapid rise of chronic diseases and mental health conditions and how our lifestyle, our emotional health, and the core medicine all intertwines to give you the best health for life. Please be aware that this podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide individualized medical advice for any health conditions. If you're seeking tailored support, you can explore more on my website, drsonu.com.au. That's drsonu.com.au. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, welcome to a new episode of the Lifescript Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sonu. Today I'm going to talk about food prep and sex. I know the word sex always excites patients and, they suddenly have your attention. So I did this little analogy of food prep and sex and what is common. And I was saying to a friend, I said, food prep is like sex. No quickies, be present, enjoy the process, don't delegate, make time for it, and do it at least once a week. And he laughed. He said, "Well, I like that analogy." So so I'm gonna try it on patients. Maybe that will encourage them to start getting into thinking about food prep. It's something that I've incorporated into my life. I often say we're all stressed and we're all busy. I don't think I've interviewed a patient in the last 100 years where anyone has said no to being stressed and busy. And, I feel that it has become something that we all are. We're all very busy and we're all very stressed. And what goes out of the window, what goes out of our routine is the core ingredient of good health, which is good food. And when I say food prep like sex, you don't delegate it, you don't, you've got to be present and you've got to enjoy it to the most. So preparing our food, planning our nutrition is one of the most important things you can do for your health. So we've got to make time for it. And we've got to be very mindful of how we do it. So we all, like I said, are busy, but we can take out some time, whichever time it is for us in our week, to do our food prep. For me, it's a weekend, it's on a Sunday, and it's a process. I now get excited about it. Not long ago, less than a year ago, I was like most people say, we're too busy, we've got no time, we've got so much to do. A lot of my colleagues, work very long hours like I do. So it is important to actually prepare and plan your food, because your nutrition is even more important than your exercise or your pills you take. It's fundamental to our health and healing. And I did a podcast on the food philosophy, and there's lots more coming on food. I think food, the more and more I explore, is it's the core of good health. I was talking to a 12-year-old girl and saying to her, if you can't cook, you cannot be healthy in life. So preparation is key in our modern world of stress and busyness. Because without that, we will not be able to actually implement this food philosophy. So where does it start? And follow the analogy with me. It's fun and it's harmless. You've got to start with the intent. You've got to want to do it. You've got to have that libido, if I can call it. And that's going to come from that narrative. This is good for me. I want this. I want to eat good food for the week coming up, you know. You look at your week, you've got meetings, you've got patients booked back to back for 8 hours. You've got to sustain. You've got to want to go to the gym. You want to do all of that stuff. You can't do that without, you know, this core event, which is to prep your food. So you've got to want to do this. You need to know how important it is, how it improves your life, how it fundamentally changes what you're able to achieve. So it's got to be priority, yeah? So that's the first thing, because once that's priority, you will make time for it. And you've got to have protected time. I often say to people, you cannot enjoy something or sustain something without allocating time to it. So don't think it's going to happen with time you don't have. You've got to create time for it. So something may need to go. You know, I often say no is a complete word. So you might have to use that with certain events or things that you've got lined up that need to be refused or put in the no basket, and you've got to make time for this important activity. Then you've got to plan it, you know, you've got to know what you want to eat, what you feel like, what other things you're going to buy, where you're going to buy them from, and have a bit of a joy and pride in that, you know. Source your ingredients from where you need them to be. You know, it may be a little extra trip to somewhere, but do that, because this all then brings that concept of love and care into the most essential thing in your health, which is your food. So I think that is very key element. You've got to source the right ingredients. So I know I want my Chinese broccoli from there, and I want my, you know, tofu from here, or I want whatever you're gonna get from, and have your core ingredients, you know, in big batches. So have your big bag of brown rice or whatever else. I'm not gonna sound like I'm teaching you how to do a food prep. I'm more talking about the concept. So source your ingredients. Be proud of it. Be proud of the what will go into your body, what is going to regenerate your cells, what's going to feed your brain, what's going to feed your gut, what's going to keep your circulation good, your arteries clean. So, you know, have that joy and love and respect for the ingredients that you're going to put. You know, I often say what goes past your mouth is the most important decision you make in your life. And so source your food. And once you've got that, you know, and it doesn't need to be expensive. I think it's the biggest myth that eating healthy is expensive. I can do a whole new podcast on economics of eating well, and I love to do that, because I think where we spend money these days is actually eating out. And just today I had a patient who started to cook her own food. I gave her a whole grocery list and a recipe book, and she said, "Oh my God, Sonu, how much money I'm saving. I'm cooking my own food. I love it. I bought herb plants and I bought a pressure cooker," and it's changed her life. But again, I'm not going to talk about the nitty-gritties of food prep and the actual but I'm talking about the more how you need to think about it and why you need to think about it that way. So I think that's really, really important. So having pride and joy, getting the ingredients, so obviously buying them fresh and then cooking them. So again, being mindful, being present. You know, I love the book Ikigai, which talks about the flow, being in the moment. So don't try to watch TV and help your kids with homework and answer your emails while you're cooking. Just try to be present. You know, cooking is a beautiful activity by itself. You can obviously engage other people of your family, that's fun, but you know, knowing how to chop your vegetables, you know, enjoying the colors, the the smells, again, a good analogy to sex, have all your senses present, have that foreplay to the final event of when all your food is cooked, and you're proud of what you've created and what's going to nourish you for days and week to come. So really being present, and it's the process, it's the whole drama of it, the whole the flavor of it literally is what you need to be, and being in the right mindset. My mum used to say, if you're angry, don't go in the kitchen. And she was so right. The energy we carry when we cook our food, the love we make it with, the emotions we have a big impact on what we produce. One of the things that has always perplexed me is, when we go, like I'm a Hindu, we go to the temple, our religion's all about food and offering of food to our God, and as a child, what you go to the temple for is the food. Literally, you wait for the treats and the food that you get served there. And I always used to think, how come that temple food tastes so good? And I think what I've realized over the years is because it's cooked with love, it's cooked with that kind of devotion, if that's the right word. Yes, probably. And that has got, it's got an effect on the food you cook. So I think bring your best self, your best emotions into your food prep, and think of it as a process you're going to enjoy, and that emotion, that kind of goodness is going to be nourishing you for the week as well. And then I think it's about being consistent. So making time for it, and at least having and doing it regularly, because if you're not prepped, you're not going to have your food in the fridge, and you may once or twice cook good food after a long day, but you're not going to do it for long. And when you start to falter on that, everything falls away, because without nourishing your body with the food you need to have, nothing else will work. None of your routines are going to fall in place. So I thought I will talk about food prep and how important it is, how you got to prioritize it, have fun with it, take your time, be mindful, be proud, source your ingredients, and do it often, and do it regularly, and your body, mind and soul will thank you for it. And when you get your little Tupperware out of the fridge, after a long busy day, and it takes you back to the love that you've cooked it with, and your body, your gut, your mind will thank you for it. So think about sex when you think about food prep, and vice versa. And it's so important for our lives that are so full of stress and so full of busyness, but make time for it, and your body will reward you for it. This is Dr. Sonu signing off. Thank you for tuning in to the Lifescript Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. The show notes and any resources mentioned can be found in the accompanying blog post on my website. Please remember that the information provided in this podcast is not intended to diagnose or provide medical advice for any health conditions. If you're looking for individualized support, please head over to my website, drsonu.com.au. That's drsonu.com.au to learn more about how Kiran Wellness and its programs can help you on your health and healing journey.